In the process of repairing a Pioneer RT707 reel-to-reel deck for a customer, I just want to go over some of the common problems with these machines. I already went ahead and recapped it and changed most of the transistors on this machine, but I'm going to go and put the camera over to the table and I'm going to show you some of the common problems with this machine. What you're looking at are the two most common components that fail on these Pioneer RT707 reel-to-reel decks. This one right here is a capacitor that failed and it leaked through the bottom, the electrolytic out, and what happens is if you leave that in there, of course it's going to end up eating up away at the trace and so forth. But also this particular one here on an ESR meter actually had bad ESR, and also the capacitive value was higher than what it originally was, so it's way out of tolerance. So I end up recapping this whole entire machine. The other common issue, and was actually the problem with this machine, is these were pulled out of the line board on the bottom, and what happens is they actually back in the day used to use a silver coating on the leads so it can conduct better, and as a result the silver of course reacts to the metal itself because it's dissimilar metals and it ends up corroding, and then it works its way into the package. Of course that's what causes your static and noise on, or causes low output of course, because then the gain's not as high as it's supposed to and so forth. So that's what causes them to fail pretty much, is that silver coating they put on there ends up corroding and it ends up working its way into the package, of course damaging that transistor. Now what I do replace them with is I do replace them with a Fairchild C1845 right here, and that's what I actually use as a substitute for those transistors there. But I'm going to go and show you some other things that I did to this machine, and I'll be right back with you once I get the camera positioned over. Here's another common issue with these Pioneer RT707 reel-to-reel decks, and that is that these incandescent direction lamps end up burning out over the years, and I already went ahead and modified to LEDs. One thing I want to note though, because I always end up when looking at machines on eBay, is I always see people installing these annoying blue and very bright LEDs that pretty much light up half the room and stuff like that. These machines are collectible. You want to try to keep it as original as possible, and doesn't have to be overly too bright as well either. You just want it to be able to go and light the indicator in the front where you can be able to see what direction the machine's playing it, pretty much the same way as it originally was. You know what I mean? But one thing I do is I go and install green LEDs, which are these right here, and then I use a 1.5k ohm resistor, half watt, and you want to use half watt, not quarter watt, because the quarter watts will get too hot. So here you go. And then you can see the back side of how I kind of wired it, and then I heat shrinked it, and then I run the wire out the side because then it's not pinching because there's a gap right there. And then you can go and screw this back down, but I'm going to go and power this on so you can go and see how they look installed. And there you go, that's about as bright as it is, and once I put the front panel on, you'll see it'll illuminate the indicator in the front, and that's it. That's all you want. Alright, so then we'll go and switch directions. And there you go. So I'm going to go and show you other issues with this machine, so I'll be right back. Here's the other common failure point with these Pioneer RT707 reel-to-reel decks, and it's in this line board that you're looking at right here, and it's these 4 transistors that's right here and these 2 transistors right here that fail, and it's due to that silver coating they put on the lead that works its way into the package, and then the transistors end up becoming noisy. So I went ahead and already redid this board, but one thing to note though, when you're installing the new transistors onto these board, make sure you don't get base and emitter actually reversed, because on the older style transistors they had it backwards. So when you're installing the new ones, just be mindful of the base and emitter position on when you're installing the new transistors on these boards. I went ahead and also recapped this board and stuff too as well. Here's the other common issue with these Pioneer RT707s, and right now we're looking at the record/oscillator board, and that is that these 2 transistors right here also end up failing too as well, due to the same issue as the other transistors. So you do have to replace those. I went ahead and recapped this whole entire board as well while I was at it. So I'm going to go and move over to the playback board and also show you where the transistors on those also fail as well. Here's the other two transistors that like to fail on these machines, and they're located right by the signal wires, and here you go. And they left the original ones in on purpose so I can show you what they look like. And it's the board with the jack on. There's the playback board you're looking at, just in case you're trying to figure out which board it's on if you're servicing your machine. But those two transistors do fail as well, and they do need to be replaced. I went ahead and already recapped this board as the customer requested, so I'll go and move over to a different part of the machine now. Another common issue with these Pioneer RT707 reel-to-reel decks is your playback and record speeds too fast or unstable, and it's usually due to this Capstan server board right here, and it was on this particular machine. And what causes that is there's three 0.1 50 volt blue capacitors that's towards the bottom of this thing that like to fail. So you should replace those. Usually when I see them, I replace them right off the back, no question. Matter of fact, I've actually recapped this whole entire board as the customer requested. Now, to remove this board, you do have to remove this cable right here. So you go and cut the two wire ties that hold this wiring to this wire loom right here, and you do unplug the cable that goes onto the side of the board that goes to the Capstan motor right there too. And then you'll be able to remove the two screws right here and the two screws that hold this heatsink to the side of the case, and be able to lift that whole entire assembly out so you can go and service it. Remove the four screws that hold this PCB board to this heatsink right here, and then you'll be able to access those capacitors on the other side of the board. They're toward the bottom right here. That's one of the most common failure points of this machine. The other issue too is with the front pod. That's for your speed adjustment in the front. Make sure you clean that with deoxit. I usually use deoxit fader lube because it's non-abrasive. Don't use regular deoxit, because regular deoxit will go and eat at the carbon traces on that pod there, and you end up destroying your pod over time. So always use fader lube or non-abrasive contact cleaner when you're cleaning those pods there. The other thing to look out for is make sure that the cable to the Capstan motor is plugged all the way in, because I have seen it where they're halfway plugged in from shipping or whatever, and that also will cause your problem. And then also make sure the contacts are actually clean and not corroded too as well. The other thing to check too is the FG coil in the motor. Sometimes I have seen them go bad, and that also will cause the issue as well too. And in that case, you have to take it apart, see if you can repair the coil. If you can't, then you'll end up having to buy a whole new Capstan motor for that issue. But that's a very rare one. I've probably seen out 1 out of 100 machines where that actually has failed. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up the rest of this machine, and then I'll go and show you some more common issues with these machines. Another common issue with these Pioneer RT707 reel-to-reel decks is that this pretty much all seizes up, and it's due to the lubricant becoming more of a glue instead of a lubricant. And pretty much what you have to do is take the whole entire front panel off. You take, of course, the head assembly, the covers, all that off. Make sure you don't lose the two spacers that go in between this when you take the head cover off, because those do like to fly off at times. So put them in a safe spot where they're not going to disappear on you, so you can go and reassemble the way you took it apart. But in this one here, the auto stop wasn't working correctly. And the auto stop's actually right here. There's a lever right here that pushes on a switch, and it's this lever right down here. So as the tape runs out, this drops down, and it causes it to engage the switch back here, which then sends power to the relay and the switch assembly, and that's what actually activates your auto stop. Well, that also needs to be serviced too as well, because that also seizes up as well too, and then this lever here won't drop down fast enough, therefore the auto stop not working. The other thing too is you do have to take the switch assembly where you play rewind forward completely out and re-oil the pivot point on that relay there too as well, because that also seizes up too as well. So I'm going to go ahead and service this machine, completely do all new oil and lubricant, and then I'll put it back together, and I'll be right back once I'm done. Went ahead and finished rebuilding the mechanism, and then also finished cleaning up the machine. I do still have to bias the machine. I went ahead and did the playback alignment already, but As far as biasing go, I'm just waiting for the customer to go and send the blank tape that he uses mostly over, and then I'll go and set the bias for him. But as far as doing alignment on this machine, you do need test tone tapes, you do need scope, you do need a signal generator, and you do need a meter to do that. But overall, I'm just going to go and demonstrate that the machine does actually work now. I'll go ahead and play it. And you can hear it pretty much. Now go on reverse direction. And you can hear it does reverse. And then forward. Go ahead and pause it. And it does pause now. Here you go. And I also fixed his line input, which one side wasn't working, the other side was static. So now have my signal generator plugged into it, and as you can see, both channels are now equal and no more static pretty much. And I'll go ahead and turn off the signal generator so that way I can turn up the volume and you'll hear no static. Quiet now, no more static, it's gone completely. Same thing. That was the problem with it, was those transistors were bad. Here you go. And then, not to annoy you guys, I'm gonna go and turn that off. And I'll just demonstrate forward. And there you go. And let me go ahead and thread the tape back onto the reel, and then I'll do rewind again. I can't. Let's rewind it all the way now. And as you can see, auto stop does work now. So, machine is fully functional now. And one thing you note, if you look over there at the direction lights, they're not annoying. That's the way they're supposed to be. Nice and green, not annoying blue. And as far as the meters go, I just went ahead and actually installed new incandescent bulbs into those. I don't usually do LED mods because I like to try to keep it as original as possible. This here you have to do LEDs too because those bulbs are no longer available. But they look like the original, which is the way I like it pretty much. So this concludes this video.